So to do that, let us see how we can create custom fields or properties in HubSpot. So I'm going to go back into my HubSpot account and I'm going to click on my settings jar. And when I click on the settings jar over here, as you can see, I'm going to go into the data management and I'm going to click on properties. It is called properties in HubSpot, but it is also known as custom fields. So we have properties that can be created for contacts, can be created for deals, can be created for companies, for invoices, and for all of this. Yeah, so you can create custom fields for quotes, you can create custom fields for call properties and deal properties, yeah, you can do all of that. Let's see how we can now start with the contact properties. So since that is the first thing we are dealing with, and as you can see, we are currently in the contact properties, and you can see all of the contact properties that HubSpot have been able to create for us. There are actually a lot of properties, and I believe we have more than 100. Yeah, we have like 300 that was created by HubSpot. So we can also create our own custom fields if we want. And to create a custom property, or to create your own property, you just need to click on create property, and it is going to bring out this where you can be able to add in the name of the custom field or the property, or you can also add the field type. They have a lot of field type in here that you can be able to pick from, but I'm just going to brush through each of them first so we can be able to see how to use it. So the single line text is just the one where you can be able to add the text. Maybe you're asking for the first name or you're asking for the last name, where they can just be able to type a single line text. That is for the single line. And for the multi-line, this is where you allow them to be able to type in whatever it is they want, like in paragraphs. Long things can be typed, and I think they have like 2,500 characters limits for that. So we have the numbers where you can be able to insert maybe the if you're asking for the number of courses they offer, or you're asking for the number of products they want to buy from us. And the single checkbox is just the one where you can ask people to be able to pick a checkbox. So let's say you want to ask people, do they want to receive email from us? They just need to pick that checkbox to say yes. And we have the multiple checkbox, where you can be able to create different options. So you can ask something like what services are you interested in? Maybe you are interested in automations, or you are interested in landing pages, or you are interested in email campaigns or sequences. Yeah, they can be able to pick multiple options. So you can use the default, or you can use the tag. So the tag is just going to add this answers is going to add it as a tag and not just an option. So we have the multiple checkbox, we have the radio select, where they can be able to pick various options. So they can only be able to pick one option. Yeah, so for the radio select, they can pick one option. For the drop down select also, they can be able to pick one option, but this is going to be a drop down, and it is not going to be like the radio select where it's going to list out all of the options. It's going to be like the drop down, where you can be, when they click on the drop down, you are going to see the various options. So we can also see that we have the phone number. You can ask people to put in their phone number. Let's say you want to ask for the parent's phone number, or you want to ask for the CEO's phone number. Whatever phone number you want to ask for, you can use the phone number field. And you can also see that we have the date picker. The date picker just allows you to be able to ask questions that have to do with dates, maybe their birthday, or the date they are going to be available for the meeting. Yeah, you can use the date picker for that. And we have the file. We have the date and time picker. The date and time picker is different from the date picker in such that the date and time allows people to be able to pick the date and the time. So let's say we want to ask people the date and the time they will be available for a meeting. They can be able to pick a date. They can say maybe the 14th of February at 9 p.m. Yeah, so this is what the date and time picker does. It is different from the date picker, because the date picker allows them to only pick the dates, but the date and time allows them to pick the date and the time. And we have the file here. The file just allows us to be able to ask people to upload things. So they can upload images, they can upload files like PDFs. And the next one is the HubSpot user. the HubSpot user allows us to be able to add in custom fields that have to do with the HubSpot user. So let's say we want to check in for the contact owner, for instance. That field is the HubSpot user field. We can also create another one and say the salesperson. Maybe the salesperson for that particular contact can be a user in our HubSpot account. So the next one after HubSpot user is the URL. So let's say you're asking people for details like company's URL. You can use the URL field for that. And also we have the option to create 10 custom fields, and that's because we are on the free plan. They are only giving us 10 custom fields, so we have to use this wisely. And when we come back into our dummy list, we have the first name, the last name, the email, the phone. I believe all of this has been created by HubSpot. Yeah, so we have the job title, which HubSpot you have already. The company name is already in HubSpot. City is in HubSpot. Country is in HubSpot. Life cycle stage is in HubSpot already. Then we have the lead status. Lead status is in HubSpot, but we have to make sure that the lead status we have here is the same thing with the lead status we have in HubSpot. So when I go back to my HubSpot account and I look for my lead status, yeah, so my lead status is a radio select. That means they can only be able to pick one option. And as you can see here, we have the field type. The field type, we have new, we have in progress, and we have all of this. And if I go back to my contact, as you can see, my lead status is having all of these, and I can see closed one. And I believe we do not have closed one in HubSpot. So I'm going to go back into my settings here, and I'm going to add in another option, and I'm just going to add in closed one option. So when I click on save, this is going to save my data, my field. So you just need to make sure that whatever field you are creating in here, whatever field you are creating in HubSpot is the same thing as what you are creating in here. Okay, so I believe we have new, we have contacted. Let me turn this to a drop down. Okay, so for the lead status, we have the closed one, we have contacted, and we have new, we have qualified. Yeah, I think we have all of these already. So let me go back to HubSpot. Okay, yeah, we have new, we have open. Yeah, everything is complete for the lead status. When I go back to my list and I can see that we have the service interest. Okay, so this is all our service interest in here. So give me a minute to copy everything inside HubSpot. The service interest is a drop down field or just a radio select. So we are going to be using a radio select for the service interest. So when I copy this and I go back into my property setting, I just click on save for the lead status, and I can be able to create a new property. And I'm going to add the label as service interest, and since they can only pick one service interest, we are going to be using the radio select or the drop down select. So let's just pick the radio select. Now this is going to allow us to be able to add different options, and we can use the options we have in here and we can add it to HubSpot. So let me just copy it and bring it into HubSpot. So now that we've added in all of our options for service interest, when we go back into property settings, as you can see, I have added in all of our service interest, and I am going to click on create property. So I can decide that I want to use the option style to be default, or I want it to be with dots, or I want to use the badge. So let's use the badge, and we can see that we are using the radio select because they can only pick one option. So I am going to click on create property, and when I click on create property, that is going to create my custom field. So let me cancel this. So my service interest, when I search in for my service interest, as you can see, it has been created. So I am going to go back to my dummy list, and I am going to check in for other custom fields here. As you can see, we have after service interest, we have estimated due value. So the estimated due value is a currency field because this is the amount we are expecting from them if they buy from us. So I'm just going to copy this in here, and I'm going to go back into my property. I'm going to click on create property, and I am going to label this estimated due value. So I am going to be using number, and under number, the number format is going to be currency because it is price, like it is money value. You can also pick, if you're using a normal number, you can use a formatted number, or you can use an unformatted number. You can use percentage if that works for you, but since we are dealing with money value, it is going to be currency. And when we do that, we can also decide to make sure that there is unique value for this what's it called, for this field, but that is not necessary. As you can see, my field type is currency field, and I can decide to show this property in forms, chart flow. I can also do all of this validation if I want. Yeah, when I add in everything, I can just click on create, and that is going to create my estimated deal value as a currency field. So the next one we have is the lead source detail. So this is going to show us where the leads are coming from. So if we go back in here and we look for lead source, let's see if we have lead source already. Yeah, my lead source is a drop down select, and I just need to make sure that all of my lead source, the options I have on that sheet, is currently in HubSpot here. Okay, so let me turn this to a drop down. Okay, so give me a minute to copy all of this. Okay, so when I come back into my lead source, yeah, my lead source for contact, as you can see, we can add it as a badge, or we can use the default. I am just going to load in my option in here. So instead of me copying it one by one, I can just load in the option I have already copied here. So let me just copy all of the option. Okay, so we have the options here, and I have added in all of this. We have Google search, we have Instagram. I'm just going to load in my option in here. Oh, I have some ones already, so I'm just going to delete them. Delete this. So I'm going to click on delete. Yeah, I have those options already. I do not need to bring them in again. Okay, so that has added in all of my options. So I am going to go back, and I am going to click on save. Oh, we have Google search. Okay, let me take this off. Yeah, so I can now click on save, and when I click on save, that has been saved. Okay, so the next one we want to look at now is the webinar attended. So let's copy this. We have webinar attended, and we are just going to create the custom field in HubSpot. And when we bring this in here as webinar attended, it's going to be a drop down select, because let's use a radio select, it's just yes or no. So I'm just going to add in my option yes and my option no, and when I'm done, I can click on create property, and that is going to create the custom field for that. And we have the next one, which is the client tier, and I think we have gold, silver, gold, platinum. So let me just create that in HubSpot. Oh, I've reached my limit. Wow. Yeah, it says I've reached my limit, so I'm just going to delete the rest. I have to. So it's actually simple. When you want to do the rest, just use what's it called, for this you are going to be using drop down select or radio select. For this also, you are going to be using radio select, and for the renewal date, you are going to be using the date field, and for the engagement score, you are going to be using the number, and it's going to be a formatted number. So we're just going to delete all of this. If you have been using HubSpot for a while, or your team have been using HubSpot for a while, and you feel like your team are not using HubSpot the way they are supposed to, we at CRM instructors, we can help train your team to make sure that they understand HubSpot to the fullest potential, and they can understand how to use HubSpot for your particular sales process. So you can book your team training by using the link in the description below, or you can check us out at crminstructors.com to see how we train teams to use HubSpot optimally. And also, do not forget to subscribe to this channel, and also like this video, and also share to everyone who you think is going to need this video. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.